have a comment or question?
Yes, I'm trying to understand what you would like us to do. You're suggesting that we should be sending to the State Board of Education that we recommend that they say that they retain. I don't know really what we're saying that we want our other members to do. I'm kind of befuddled by that.
There have been different revisions, and the revisions before this last one have really honored the diversity within Colorado and within the history of Colorado, with groups that are, in existence now. This latest version is the one that has taken away a lot of the diversity that actually was in the law that was passed in 2019 that was requiring the revision of the standards to be much more explicit about how they talk about the different groups within Colorado. So, and they've taken a lot of the LGBTQ references out. That's one of the areas that has really been hit hard by the newest revision. And you'll see it. I mean, it starts with preschool and goes on up. All right. And just look at a sampling of the different grade levels, and you can see what has been redlined out and what's been substituted in. So I don't know if I want to say it's softened. I think it gets away from what the law was requiring. And let me see.
So you want our members to we're not going to get our members to read that. What if we give them suggested wordage or something to say that that would get more action from people rather than saying, go and read this long document.
We'll be distributing sample text.
Right.
Great, thanks.
And we can distribute the testimony as I get my final draft done on that, because that's not going to be long.
Okay, so we'll wait to get that from you then.
And it will be based in, like everything that we do with the league, it'll be based on the positions that from US and from the state. Okay, all right. So it will talk about the positions.
Well, I'll be happy to write a letter to the editor, which I do a lot. And I've even received hate mail because of some of my letters. I always write them as me, a citizen, but this editorial, Will Colorado's Children Learn About Diverse Cultures? And we hope so. I'd be happy to write and say that I appreciated seeing this, that this is something that but should I do it just as a citizen?
Yes, because task force members are not authorized to speak for the league.
Okay.
But we encourage everybody to write as a citizen.
Well, okay. But that said, in this case, Kathy, because we have quorum on a board vote on your testimony, I would actually say they can speak as league members on this. Do you agree?
Well, we've been talking about, how task force members can, we have to be careful about task force members writing to legislators and other people in government saying they're writing for the league. This is kind of a different situation since this is just happening today.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting this today. So this is like a fine line.
But in a way, I think it's almost more impactful to write as a I don't think so, Barb.
I don't know. I think you're opening up a can of worms
Yeah.
if you allow people to just speak for the league, because we're very careful about that. However,
But because this statement will be voted on by the state league.
yes, but I'm saying, however, Jill, you could use, once this statement is published, you could use portion of the statement in your letter that says the league is stating this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think there'll be clever ways, but I'm just thinking outside the box.
But if they're meeting this week, I want it to get in as soon as possible. So I want to send it tonight, and then, you know, who knows if it'll even be published.
Right.
But it goes, I believe it's digitally published. Isn't that correct? All the letters to the editor are
yes.
on
But I think
website.
you're going to have, I think you would have more impact if you wrote to the State Board of Education members, since that vote is coming up now.
Well, I agree, but then I don't know who they are and all that kind of stuff. So, okay.
We will get you email addresses to whom to send.
Yes.
As well as sample text.
And I'm going to refer to this letter. This
Jill,
op-ed.
I would certainly put that you were an educator.
Yes.
And I wouldn't even say retired. I would say I'm an educator, because you are. You can put my name on it too.
And I think writing as individuals would be very impactful. If we all come in and say we're from league, they're just going to get confused.
I kind of agree. I think there might be more impact if we're all writing as private citizens.
Okay.
Peggy, did you ask your question?
No, I did not. Actually, I wanted to know, because I know there was talk earlier on this year about adopting standards or policies similar to Texas. Did that go away?
I think you're talking about the American Heritage Standards. Those were voted down, but they were voted down at a really close vote. It was a 4-3 vote.
Yeah, one vote.
It was along party lines, but it was a 4-3 vote.
Oh my gosh.
They are expanding in this election that's happening right now. They're expanding the State Board of Education to 9 members. So there'll be one new member from the new congressional district, 8, and then there'll be another at-large member. But that vote was too close to, for comfort.
Hence this task force.
Kathy,
right. Yes.
So they're going to go from 7 to 9.
Yes.
And depending on who gets voted in, yes. I know who I voted for, but who gets voted in. So, but was I just voting for the at-large member? I only voted for one position.
Yep.
Right, because you're not in District 8.
Oh, right. I see. Okay, thank you. That helps.
Colorado Sun had a very interesting, was it Colorado Sun or Chalkbeat? Chalkbeat, if you don't know Chalkbeat, it's a really excellent resource for education news, and the Colorado Sun, the Denver Post are always taking portions of their articles. So you can subscribe to Chalkbeat and specifically to the Colorado edition of it. But one of their, and I'll pull it up while we're talking, one of their articles was the most important race that nobody knows about, and it was for the school board. So I'll pull that one.
Hey, and Kathy, who's the gentleman that has the loudest voice on the board right now, that's got the history within our legislature, and he's driving a lot, of this?
That's
Steve Durham.
Okay.
Yes, Steve Durham.
This is a name that we all need to tag, right? And have any article, anything comes up on your computer with Steve Durham, we need to start following this gentleman, because.
Well, I'm afraid to start following him because I'll get a bunch of wackos.
Oh, well, there you go. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, no, how about we just, I don't mean following, I mean paying attention to what he's
Pay
doing.
attention. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
And we're all quitting Twitter anyway.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway,
Beth brought
already
that up,
did.
by the way. Beth brought that up in a meeting with me earlier today and said, I wonder where the league, and she's going to find out where the league stance is going to be as Twitter evolves. If Twitter turns into something very different than it is today, will we jump off Twitter and will we pay a surcharge? And will we, you know, will we play in the Twitter world? Is it worth it to the league? I don't know.
yeah. Jan.
So I realize we don't have a lot of people, but sometimes I'm thinking kind of the history of kind of like what these things mean in the bigger context. I doubt if we have time to do that, you know, like in a couple of days, but to me, it's like, how can the state school board change the statute, or are they interpreting the statute? That just seems really confusing to me. And for me to speak like powerfully about it, I feel like I need that kind of context and coaching. And I realize we don't really have time to do that. So I'm wondering if the task force might consider, since I won't have the bandwidth to be on the task force, to consider, you know, helping people, you know, like talk about the legality. Another instance of that is like, I've heard that, I believe that it's true that county school boards have a lot of decision power. They don't necessarily have to follow. And I know that we did a presentation with the school board president, but it didn't really satisfy my knowledge for, you know, what is the legality here? You know, like, so if our school board here in Mesa County decides that, you know, they don't want to do this or they ignore it, you know, like, what is that context? You know, like, what is kind of the legal, you know, recourse for this? I'm just kind of the big picture. I think some of us understand it really well, but I understand as zero.
Kathy, are you able to speak to that right now? Is anybody able to speak to that?
I'm looking for it, and so I was only half listening. Jan, tell me what specifically you want to know.
So for this vote that the school board is going to do, what impact will it have, and why would I think that the statute is a statute? I mean, the first school board meeting I spoke to in January, I cited that statute and I said, the league is really looking forward to supporting the school implementing this new statute. And, you know, I, you know, it's like, if it's the law in the books, then how can they possibly take stuff out of it?
Because I think they're wiggling around with the wording on these, and they're softening it, and they're pulling out some of the specific requirements that are some of the requirements that were very specifically laid out in the standards. And if you look at the replacement verbiage that's in this latest revision, they've pulled a lot of those references, especially LGBTQ, you know, communities out of it. So kids will not necessarily see in what they're learning what some of their families are like.
But why does the State Board of Education have the authority to change state statute?
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't they write these in the first place?
They have the authority to, yeah. I mean, this was one of the things. Okay, let me see if I can find, because I'm in a few different places here. So hold on. Keep talking.
We're watching you.
Yeah, you're watching me search where I stuck all this stuff today. I had this all up and now it's not up.
Well, I think the state board itself came up with the original plan, didn't they? Who comes up with the original plan? Not the legislature.
The legislature actually really outlines quite a few things in it. I'm just not seeing it. Okay. Got the wrong number here. Let's see if that'll bring it up. Oh, come on.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Okay, so I remember, I don't think this has exactly to do with what Kathy's looking for, but I do remember when Lisa Cutter and there was another legislator and they, the legislature adopted the media literacy recommendations with readings and recommended resources.
Yeah, that was Barbara McLaughlin, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Right. And so,
and it was also Lisa Cutter. It was both of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I read that piece of legislation, it gave each school district the option to use those resources. They didn't have to. These were just recommendations. Mm-hmm. And they said when they passed this legislation, that they would put that in the standards later, which they were going to revise, I guess this year.
Who was going to revise the standards?
The Board of Education, I assume.
Board of Education.
So
not the legislators.
No. So was that included in these standards now to use that?
That's different. Those are the media standards. Okay,
right.
And they're also voting on the media standards as well, but that hasn't gotten the attention nearly as much. Okay, look at this, because this is a quote from the Colorado Sun about what the State Board of Education can do. It'd be good if I hit return.
Are you putting it on the screen or in chat?
It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
Oh,
put it in the
okay.
chat. Sorry about
Beth,
that.
can you put it on the screen for us? Because I'm on an iPad and I can't, it's really difficult for me to download the chat.
Do you have that on your screen, Kathy, that you could share?
Okay, hold on. I do. Is it?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, it's that top part.
Wow. Wow.
And see, it's this bottom one, set standards that guide.
Yeah.
Yes, by setting academic standards.
Yep.
My goodness, they have broad authority.
So it's not state statute they're looking to change.
Right.
It's the standards.
Okay.
And they're supposed to, they are supposed to follow, and I don't think I have it in my document here. Can I close this? Otherwise you're going to see me scrolling all over the place. And I don't know why this is not coming up right away. Oh, I know. What's her name?
Aren't there national standards too that the states have to follow?
I think these came from the national standards. I think that
these are from the.
I think they were.
Because I just see state all over.
It's state, and we're.
But I mean, they used the national standards as a model, I think.
And I don't know if Colorado, I don't remember if Colorado is a Common Core state, but this is state standards. They're different. Every state has control over this.
Right, but I think they used the model of the federal ones when they wrote them.
Barb?
I was wondering if we could say these letters to the editor or the action that we need to take, could we classify it to our members as an action alert or not?
That's what I was thinking.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea, Barbara.
We could, and yeah, I will talk to Kathy and Irene about that bright and early in the morning.
Something.
Yeah, that would have more oomph, I think, with everyone.
Yes.
Tell me something. Now, tomorrow would be way better than Wednesday or
Yes.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Before, yeah, election results start going out.
Plus, we need to keep ourselves busy tomorrow.
Yeah, find something to do to distract.
Distracted.
This is very frustrating for me that I'm not finding what I need here. And I
rest assured that we will be in touch with you all early in the morning, or relatively, with some sample text, emails as to where these things can go to this group, and hopefully putting out an action alert to all Colorado members as well.
That would be
Excellent. That's excellent, Beth.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
You
Hey,
bet.
just another question about Observer Corps. You brought that up in the beginning, and I know this is the newly formed task force, but one of the things that's nice about the Observer Corps, I think, is the logistics of it, so to speak, that we start to, you were showing me the thing on how people can sign up, and is this group willing to do that? If you just talk a little bit more about that.
Well, does this group feel that an ongoing, I mean, we know and have decided that immediate action is needed. But sadly, the problems probably aren't going to stop. I mean, who knows? Let's see what the vote looks like. And maybe these new members will tilt some balance towards rational thought and behavior. But I mean, how do you all feel about an ongoing Observer Corps for this state board?
Yes.
I think it's a good idea. But there's going to be there's going to be a meeting in December as well that the state board is going to have.
So they're monthly meetings, Kathy?
Not necessarily monthly meetings.
The next one is Thursday.
The next one is Thursday.
You going?
Well,
Kathy's
I do
going.
think that they have, Kathy has proven they have such broad authority that this is a perfect spot for the League of Women Voters to have an Observer Corps. No matter which way they lean, I think it doesn't matter whether they're good. If this board changes significantly and they start to kind of toe the line of everything that we believe in, we need to know that too, and we need to champion that. Whether it's right, because observing just means, watching and reporting. So
exactly.
Anyway.
So if
and
we
didn't you say
if we
that
spread it out, different people could go a different month.
Exactly. And that's what Beth, if you'll speak to that we have the ability.
Absolutely. We'll use Club Express's volunteering module. It automates the scheduling and logistics. So we will put meetings in there, and ideally we'll get a minimum of 2 observers for each meeting. Again, that can be done remotely, but it's good to have a backup just if you just can discuss something. Did I hear that right? Did that really just happen? Something like that. That said, these meetings are also recorded. So there's always the option to go back and re-look at something. Now, the point of an observer corps is to ensure that sunshine laws are being followed, open meeting laws, as well as just is something happening that the league should know about. Whether that's, again, something that should be applauded or actively opposed. So in as aligned with league positions. So it's generally pretty obvious when something is alarming. Jill.
Are there reports to fill out if you're an observer corps person, like things to look for that you check off or that you respond to?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have support materials and can provide a quick training, although it's really not needed. It is something that anyone is capable of doing and is welcome to do, you know, as a citizen. But yes, we do have checklists of things to look for and support materials.
So will we hear something from Kathy then after she observes on Thursday night? Will she get back to us about anything, or is that what you do?
It starts at 9 a.m. I just put where you can watch the board meeting.
But you're going to attend it, so I'm wondering.
I can only attend some of it. Okay, I'm not going to, I'm for sure not going to be there in person, but I have other things that are happening that day as well.
Yeah.
So if
how long are these meetings? All day?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
They are all day, and a lot of times they're in different cities around the state.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
So I just posted the link to where you can get the agenda and the materials and where you can watch.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, these are not quick meetings.
So you can just tune in. You don't need to go through a host or anything.
No, you can tune right in and listen to it.
Okay.
Fran, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, the Larimer County is going to be doing observer corps training, and I was hoping to use that to sit in on the local school board meetings.
Excellent. Great. I'll check in with those folks about that, just to make sure we all have, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have excellent materials.
We do, though, have a toolkit at the state level. So, and we'd love to see what their toolkit looks like. And, you know, because Larimer, you might be teaching us something. All right.
I believe that the Larimer training is on the digital platform that they're going to be using for the Larimer pilot project, which is somewhat different.
Okay.
The standard observer corps.
I would check with Jane Hamburger to find out what.
Okay, great. Great. Larimer is, so no one's confused here, is doing a specific observer corps program to bolster local news. We all know that newspapers are dying left and right, and local journalism is quickly becoming few and far between. Thanks for coming, Peggy. Have a good night. So the Larimer League has received a grant to create and train an observer corps to go to meetings that local journalists just don't have the bandwidth to go to and report on those meetings, so that the citizenry can still know what's going on at governmental meetings.
I am going to put in, I finally found the bill that this whole, everything is based on. I apologize, it took me so long to do this.
And if I could just interject, speaking of local journalists, Beth had a great interview in our little Highlands Ranch Register. It was very comprehensive, and I thought that it was good, Beth. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was about our election, stellar election.
Oh, great. Okay, that was through, put out through the Colorado Media Project, and that was picked up by a lot. Yeah, actually.
Good, good. No, so, I was happy to see that.
Okay, Kathy.
Yep, here it is.
Great. Beautiful. Okay, we're already over an hour. But I sure don't want to cut anybody off if anybody still has anything to say or any ideas for this group.
I would like to invite all of you to go to the advocacy training that the LAC is putting on this Friday. We're going to do a series of 3 hour-long trainings, and people, especially in task forces and in the LAC, are invited to go to. They're open to everybody, but especially task forces and LAC members. And they will be it's from 9 a.m. until 10. You can find the link to register on the state calendar. So November 11th is the first training, December 9th is the second training, and January 6th is the third that we have scheduled.
I just put the link to Friday's training in the chat.
Great.
Oh, so did Barb. You are just right on it.
Barbara is a magician. You don't know that.
She is. She's,
but really I'm not faster than Beth.
She's got the magic hands.
You picked January 6th for any particular reason?
I think it worked for the 3 of us, and we were trying to get it in before.
Oh, I was just thinking of last January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I know. But it's before the session, before the General Assembly session starts.
Oh. And are any of these meetings in the evening or just during the day?
They're all during the day right now.
But they're going to be, you're going to record.
We are going to record, yes. We
absolutely.
Then that's an easy way for all of us to.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And listen, if you do listen at your own convenience and have questions, contact me.
Okay. Yeah.
Happy to help, answer your questions about anything we go over. And we will, one of the things we're featuring this time around is how one of the legislative areas, and it's environmental, what they did as a bill was going through the process. Right, Sandy? Sandy's.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, and Sutton will be presenting on that as part of this presentation on this Friday. So it should very give you a great illustration of what happens.
And Kathy, would you put your contact information also in the chat just so we have it?
Happy to do it.
Okay, so tomorrow you, Kathy, are you comfortable saying that tomorrow sample text will be ready for letters?
It will be ready by the afternoon because I have someplace I have to go.
Great.
I'm going to see if I can work on it this evening.
Okay, well,
what I can do this evening.
As soon as possible, we will get you sample text for letters that you can send personally. We'll also work on getting an action alert out, which will be kind of duplicative to you all, but hang in there with us. We will work on getting the Observer Corps logistics set up for the December, or maybe even November, the one on the 10th, meeting of the State Board of Education. So we can get that going, and we'll get you links to sign up for that. Because the meetings are long, maybe we'll sign up in, you know,
increments.
Yeah, 2-hour shifts.
That's a good idea, right?
Something. So now, how often should this task force meet? Great. It can meet, I mean, depending, and it doesn't need to be a permanent decision. Maybe you all think, well, right now it's kind of crazy. We should probably meet every couple weeks until this standards thing gets set. Or, nah, if we send out an action alert, we're good for another month or 3 months, whatever you all decide. Most task forces meet on a month.
Is a good.
Yeah, so. Most meet on a monthly basis. Our reproductive justice task force is meeting every other week. But it's up to y'all. Once a month?
Sure.
Okay, so. Let's try that to start. So we will look at, is around this time of evening best for all?
Yes.
Good. Great.
Monday nights are good, I think.
Okay. Okay, nobody's a huge football fan here. Excellent.
I think the first Monday of the month is good too.
I do too.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Let's stick with that. Barb?
Yeah, I like that first Monday of the month because hopefully we'll be in advance of the monthly
meeting.
Board of Education meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Good thought.
Okay, great. We will get these on the State League calendar. Thank you all for your time and energy and motivation tonight. Really appreciate it.
Will you send reminders to us, or do we have to go to the calendar and click in to get the link?
Will, you know, we will, we're working on how to create ongoing distro lists for each task force, because we would like to do both. We would like to have standing task force members who choose to be that, excuse me, that we can just shoot a link out to, so you don't have to register every time.
Okay. Okay. I would prefer.
So still figuring out those logistics.
And don't you put the announcements in the LWVCO newsletters that go out?
Yeah, we do, to register for the meeting.
To register.
Right. But those are shareable kinds of things, so we can grow this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I like the idea of growing this. Don't forget, ask friends, family, countrymen, whomever, right? We need an army on this one, I think.
And one of the things that I will do once we get the legislative session going is I'll post pieces of legislation that are starting to come through that you all need to be very aware of as well.
Go ahead, Betty.
If you have any hints of what's coming up, that would be good to bring to the December meeting.
Yes. Some have already been, 3 bills have been proposed.
Okay.
So far, but we haven't heard much about some of the other ones as yet.
And also, if there are things happening locally that, in terms of education, that you want to elevate, bring those things. If you at your local league do not have an education team or group, please encourage other members of your local league who are interested in education to join the task force. you know, we hope that, you know, to have communication at all three levels, you know, local, state, and national. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Thanks so much for coming.
Really appreciate it. Appreciate your time and motivation.
Thanks for all the information.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Beth.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
all.
right.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Beth,
Yes.
we're going to have to get together and talk about this list thing, aren't we? After the
Yes.
election.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out a good way to do it, and a convenient, you know, yeah, that's going to be a little nightmarish, but we'll get it figured out.
I belong to a group that has a list, and it goes out with their link, and I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe it's a Google list or something.
Yeah. And I'm figuring we're probably going to need to use Google as opposed to Club Express, just because Club Express is so funky when it comes to members versus non-members.
Right.
So, but we're working on that, and we'll be in touch with all task force leaders.
Good, because I'm ready to get rid of this list.
Okay. Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, Sandy.